Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Right now we're going to sit and have a conversation with Celi, who's a well-respected and internationally known filmmaker and, of course, a social activist. But more importantly, he's a citizen of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas who has legitimate expectations and concerns. Celi, welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. You know, only good things happen to you when you sit on this side of the camera or the side that I normally see them.
It's always a pleasure to be here with you, and I thank you for that kind introduction.
It's actually all true. But let's begin. I know I talked to you a little bit, both on and off camera, and you were expressing a concern about the proliferation of cell phone towers. So let's talk about that. First of all, let's put it into some context and tell our viewers what exactly are we talking about, and at least at a very baseline level, what your concerns are.
Well, my main concern about cell phone towers, when you research it, you Google it, is the radiation that comes from your cell phones. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's been reports of cancer, birth defects, tumors, Alzheimer's disease, infertility, low sperm count. So the information is out there.
This is from the cell phone. Oh, the cell phone.
Well, the cell phone gives off radiation, and the cell phone tower transmits the radiation.
See,
you understand what I'm saying? So my concern is the proliferation of these cell phone towers. We see them on schools, we see them on public parks, we see them in residential areas. Sure. I've just recently, are you aware of these cell phone towers? Are you aware of the possible dangers? Do you prefer to have a drop call, or you prefer to drop down dead from cancer? And overwhelmingly, most people say, hey, I prefer to have a drop call. I think that we need better zoning and safety regulations for these towers because, again, to put them on schools, to put them on public parks, I think we're just, not being wise.
I think we should break that down a little further. The schools and public parks, etc., places where young children are, or young
absolutely.
People are, whose brains are still developing, who still have this sort of brown, adipose, fatty tissue that's developing into their cognitive reason.
For worst case scenario, possible genocide. I mean, think about it. If we put in these potentially dangerous cell phone towers on schools, where the future of the nation, will be. A lot of these diseases you don't find out until 10, 15 years later. Because if you think about cell phones only really been around for like about 15 years. The new digital cell phones probably less than 10 years. So like cigarette smoking, cancer, that's stuff that's going to develop, 10, 15, maybe 20 years out. 15 years later, at 25, just finished graduating college, ready to take on the world. Now, Mom, I have a headache, I have a pain, whatever, and you find out something that's, catastrophic. So I just think as a nation, we need to be proactive. You understand? I see the Cancer Society always like to say early detection, but early detection simply means you already have it, and you're just trying to minimize the worst situation. I think we need to be more concerned about early prevention. So if the World Health Organization says, hey, this thing is possibly carcinogenic, they basically advise and all that. We need some people to die so we can do some autopsies to figure this thing out. I know I don't want to volunteer, and I don't want any behemoths to volunteer for this. So, we need to be wise, and I'm calling on the government, I'm calling on the Minister of Education, remove these cell phone towers from our schools. I have a protest today at 3 o'clock in front of D.W. Davis. They have one right on the school there. There's one right on C.R. Walker. So again, we need to be wise and make sure that we protect the children who are supposed to be the future of this country.
Now, have you made these concerns associated with the cell phone towers?
Well, my thing is, it's a government issue. It's a leadership issue. BTC has to get permission from who? The government to do these things. So where the the policies and the regulation to protect the citizens. So, the information is right there about the radiation. The manuals on the cell phones tell you, look at, don't put this cell phone right in your ear because it could potentially cause, a brain tumor. Hold it away from you, use the speakerphone. So obviously if the tower that's transmitting the radiation levels of exposure could potentially be dangerous to person. So these are right in person's backyard, right behind your bedroom. The towers are right on the park. You understand? So we need to be wise. So the Minister of Education, off of our schools, off of our public parks, near churches, near hospitals. We need to be wise. And if we're not being wise, then, again, we're setting ourselves up for a potential disaster in the next 10, 50 years. And the persons that are supposed to be taking over the country, they're not going to be in a position to do it. We're also talking about national health insurance. The way insurances work, more people pay and hopefully less people get sick. The cost is cheaper. But if you have people getting sick at an epidemic rate, who's going to be able to afford it? So we need to be wise and protect our children, protect our citizens, and just work smart on a cure.
You mentioned a little bit about zonation, etc. Have you seen anything in your, because I'm relying on you to shed light on this issue and bring it to the fore as you were doing. Have you seen anything in relation to zonation as to where these towers should legitimately be and this kind of discussion?
Well, what I'm doing is I'm bringing it to the fore because to me it's just common sense. To me it's just common sense, and I think before we allow the proliferation of these topics, these are conversations that we need to have first. You understand? See, again, that's where leadership comes in. I think a lot of times in the Bahamas we just jump into things and allow things to happen, and everything is a hodgepodge, whatever buck up goes type of reaction. I don't like to do business like that. That mom and pop type approach. Let's be smart. Let's be wise. Let's be ahead of the curve. So we've seen what happens. So again, why take a chance? Why put these towers on a school where you have a child being exposed to this 7 hours a day? They're there for 5, 6 years, and then when they go home, they have one by their bedroom, and then you have just Alzheimer's, birth defects. You're plagued with all of these things. Why? For a couple of dollars? Let's be smart.
You mentioned the demonstration. How can you be a part of it?
Well, again, I've switched my demonstration from one of them banks who was charging me $5.30 on VAT because I realized that if I'm not alive, I can't pay the VAT. So now it's in front of the school. I'm going to be in front of D.W. Davis today at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And again, the whole thing is to bring awareness and let the government know, look here, we need zoning, we need proper regulation on these cell phone towers. Remove these from our schools forthwith. Remove these from our parks. You understand? Don't let this be like another marathon situation. So, let's be smart.
All right, Celi, the work that you do, bringing awareness.
And if they don't do it, it's considered, basically, it's gross negligence.
Indeed. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise, where we are anything but. And we try to make you more aware. We'll be back on this with Sunday, with Monday holiday.